Welcome back to my channel. Please like, comment and subscribe. Thank you. Let's take a look at the materials that we're going to be using. Number one thing, we're going to be needing our crinoline to design our fascinator. We're going to be using our Alice band, our bias tape. This usually comes in a roll, but I've had it for some time now, so that's why it's like this. We're going to be needing our fabric gum or our candle gun. Anyone that you have is okay. We'll be needing our tape rule, our thread and needle, our scissors, our net, obviously because this is a net fascinator, our wire, our art wire. This comes like this in a roll like this. This is how it comes. And our wire cutter. This is the wire cutter, what I'm going to be using to cut out the wire, and our flowers for embellishments. So if there are other things that I've not added, you'll be seeing it during the course of the video. Thank you. I've gone ahead to cut out my art wire, and the measurement is around 40 inches. I used my wire cutter to cut it out. This is very easy to use. So what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be joining both ends together, and there are two methods that you can use that I personally use. Number one, you can make use of a paper tape, and that is not much of a magic. Just cut out a paper tape. To make it easier to use, you can cut it to two, or you can just leave it like that and wrap it round around it. Number two method is using your thread and your gum, which I don't know, I think is my personal favorite because I use it more. And what do you want to do? So this is our thread here. This is our thread. You're going to bring both mouths together. Ensure that your thread is actually quite thick. So when you bring both mouths together, what we are going to be doing is, we are going to be adding gum on both ends. After adding the gum on both ends, just bring it together like so. And the very first thing you want to first ensure is that start from the middle, because if you start from this side, it might be difficult for you to continue. So start from the middle of what you have overlapped. I don't know if that makes sense. Start from the middle like so, and from there you wrap it around it. When you get to one end, be very conscious of this sharp place. Ensure that your thread covers your sharp end very well. I'm through with wrapping a particular side. Now I'm going to do so for the other side as well. We have this. Now the next thing that we want to do is we want to wrap our wire. You can't leave it like this. So that is where your bias tape is going to be coming in. And what we are just basically going to be doing is we are going to be taking our bias tape. Just add your gum to this end here. Add your gum to this end here, and what we are going to be doing is we are going to be wrapping it around the wire. You can't definitely leave it like this, because so you can start from any part of the circle anyway, but then I don't want this place to be too bogus, so I can decide to start from the opposite end. You understand? Because if I decide to start from this place and end it there as well, the place may be too big compared to other places. So I can decide to start from this side. I've added my gum to my bias tape, so I can decide to start from here, and I'll start rolling it from this place. And when you are rolling it, you have to ensure that you roll it very tight. Now my bias tape is quite long, and this is actually a very dicey situation because it can eventually be enough and it may eventually be too much that I have to waste it, but then I prefer it to struggling with it. So I'm just going to be cutting a part off, and then this is what I'm going to be working it. Right now I'm almost done with the rolling of this, and I'm just going to continue to roll it till I get to the very end. Now, can you see what I'm doing? I'm doing this to ensure that it is actually very, very, very tight. So I've practically gotten to the end, and I'm going to be snipping it off with my scissors. I cut it in a slant form because that is how the bias binding comes. So I'm just going to apply my gum. You can decide to apply it on the tail end, or on the wire directly, on the bias on the fabric wire, and allow it to dry a little, just as I usually say. Allow it dampen a little before you apply it, so that your work will not be messy. This is what we have. We already have our art wire covered. The next thing we want to do is we want to take our net. This is where our net comes in, and this is a yard of net. For some people, when they want to do this, they don't double it. They don't double it, but I love to double mine. It gives it more structure and it looks better to me. So I'm going to be folding over. This is, just like I said before, this is a yard of tulle nets. So I'm going to be folding it over. The next thing I'll be doing is I'll be putting my art wire in the middle, like so. If you notice that your fabric may waste, you can decide to shorten it a little, but I'm just going to go ahead and make do with what I have here. So I'm going to be putting my already covered art wire in the middle, like so. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be, the way it is, just take it like this, take it like this, like the old nets. Then you are going to be pulling it in the middle. So ensure that all sides are well represented in the middle. That's what I'm trying to check, that all sides are well represented. So I'm going to be taking it like this, pull out all the ends, so that at the end of it you will not see that, oh, one part is not um is not has not been tied off. So look at it well, check it well. You can actually see, you can see through this part. Can you see this place? So I'm going to look for the material, for the fabric, for the net that has decided. Okay, so that's that. So we have that. So I'm just going to be taking it like this. So now this thing is, you are going to be noticing something. The more I tie, the more the shape changes. Can you see? Now when I release it, can you see it's just flat? But when I hold it firm, can you see it changes its shape? So I'm going to be, I want something like this. I don't want it flat. I want something like this. Yes. Can you see? So I'm going to arrange it well like this. And the next thing we are going to be taking is, we are going to be taking our thread to tie it off. It's as simple as that. You take your thread, after ensuring that everything, all the net is in the place, and then you take your thread, and then you're going to use it to tie it off. In fact, as you're tying it, you'll be noticing that the fascinator, your net fascinator, is actually still changing shape. So ensure that you tie it well. It is tight. And after you have ensured that it is tight enough, you are going to be tying both ends of the thread like so. After you have ensured that both ends of the thread, everything is intact, all the nets, they are at this particular point, you love the shape that you are seeing, the next thing you want to do is you want to cut off this remaining net away. You want to cut off the remaining nets, the extra nets. So now at this point, you are going to trim it down as much as possible, but you have to be careful not to cut into this place. You should have something like this after you must have trimmed it out. In fact, if you can still trim it out more, that's okay, but I'm okay with what I have here. Next thing I want to do right now is I want to cut out my crinoline. We are going to be using it to design our fascinator, and I'm going to be cutting out 20 inches in 3 places. So I have my 20 inches crinoline in 3 places, and what I'm going to be doing is, number one, I'm going to be tying up both ends of the crinoline. This is what we have after tying both ends. So what basically going to be doing is I'm going to be just bringing it to the middle like so. It's just a cute, and if you know me well, you know that I love cute bows, and I'm going to be tying it off. So this is what we have left over. I'm going to be tying it off like so. This is what we have for our first bow. I'm going to go ahead and do that for the rest of the bows as well. This is what we have with our 3 bows. The next thing we want to do is we want to work with our thread and our needle. We've not worked with our needle so far, just our thread. So we're going to be arranging the bows. You just, the way this one is straight, just place it, slant it on it like this. And after slanting it, you take your thread and your needle to secure it. I'm going to make sure that the needle enters both bows. So that is what I'm going to be doing first. So after doing that, the next thing we want to do is take our other bow. You see that more like there is a space here, so we are going to be filling the space up with this our third bow. Remember that we have actually cut out 3 bows. So the needle, push it through this one. We are going to be tacking everything together to ensure that they are all secure. This is okay because we are still going to tack this bow to our fascinator, and it's still going to make it more secure. I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to be working next. Now for this bow, you can decide to just attach it on your fascinator like this, and then use feathers, use your flower to embellish it, but I'm not going to be doing that. Why? So now this is it. This is what we have left of our crinoline. What I'm going to be doing is bringing it together like so, like so. Then you can twist this other one to this side, have something like this. Then you can take your thread and your needle to tack it together. So I'm going to be attaching it directly on my bow, directly on my bow, because I forgot to thread my needle, another needle. So I'm just going to be attaching it directly on my bow. This is what I have after attaching it, and the truth is that this is actually a fascinator on its own. You can just attach your Alice band, your elastic band, and you are good to go, your comb. But the first thing I want to do before attaching it to my fascinator is to attach my Alice band to my fascinator, and I'm just going to be fastening. I'm going to be using my thread and my needle, just like I usually say. Some people prefer to use glue gun, your candle gun, but I prefer to use my thread and needle. And use your mannequin to determine perfect place where it will sit for me. And like I usually say as well, you know that it cannot sit directly on your head. I don't know, except maybe that is a design or something. And I usually say this too: when you are attaching your Alice band to your maybe your net fascinator or whatever fascinator base you are working with, don't yet, if you are working with your thread and needle, don't allow your needle to enter through the Alice band first, so that if you don't like the way it is placed, the maybe the side it is placed, you can just easily adjust it, like, can you see, like so. I've attached my Alice band to my base. The next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be attaching this beautiful bow right here to it. I'm just going to be using my thread and my needle. I'm not that much of a fan of using gum for some particular projects. So this is what we have after attaching our bow to our base. So for this part, I'm going to be trimming off all the these things that are showing. Start trimming. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to be taking my rose to design, and not just design, to also cover the parts that we worked on. I'm just going to be using my fabric rose to do that, to cover where we worked and design it. Now I'm still confused if I should use feathers on it, but I think feathers will actually be beautiful with this. And now, before I forget, I forgot to mention something. Please, the part where you are fastening your Alice band is that part that is smooth. The part where we gathered, where we cut off, is this part that we worked on. So I just said, let me say that so that I won't forget that. So now I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to attach, I'm going to add apply gum on my rose. We have this. So the only thing left for me is deciding if I really want to attach feathers to the um to the fascinator. If I want to put feathers, I'll be putting that. You'll be seeing that in pictures. It is not that hard. I did something similar for a fascinator I uploaded, where I think the bridal fascinator, where I attached spiky feathers. I won't be using spiky feathers though for this. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach my something to cover this part. I'm going to be dropping the link of that video in the description box, so that you're going to see what I said on attaching what to use to cover this part when you are done. I just use fabric anyway, that's just the truth. I use fabric and I use my zigzag scissors to cut it out, and that's just basically. And so we are done with our fascinator, our net fascinator, and this is what we have. And I hope you actually got value from this video, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. Thank you very much. Till another time. Bye.